everybody. My name is Jen Fisher. I am a 2004 graduate of Loyola. My major was actually interdisciplinary psychology and sociology. I started out as a psych major, and about halfway through my undergrad, I took advantage of the opportunity to kind of build a hybrid degree in, so kind of the first half of my time there was in psychology and the second half was in sociology. Um, so I didn't really graduate with business training, but I did do my senior internship or my senior project in an HR department. So I worked with the United Cerebral Palsy Foundation and designed some new hire onboarding training programs. And from there, I literally 2 days after I got my degree, I started working as a very, very entry level temporary file clerk in an HR department. And it was a networked job. Actually, my aunt got it for me. So I encourage everyone to take advantage of as many connections as you can to get your foot in the door wherever you can. And I went on from there. I was working for a company that did post-acute rehabilitation. I was working in their corporate office. And as is very common in the healthcare world, within 2 years, our company was acquired. And I went into field HR. So I was based here on the East Coast. My corporate office was moved from Hunt Valley to St. Louis. And so after 2 years, 2 years out of college, I was kind of on my own here, working in a territory that was up to 23 states, doing HR for our field sites, traveling, doing trainings, doing, HR kind of generalist duties, advising on employee relations, and really kind of learning on the way. I had a really great mentor who kind of took I still feel like he kind of took a chance on me, being only 2 years out of college and trusting me to essentially work independently here on the East Coast while he was in St. Louis. And so I did that for working for eventually a Fortune 500 healthcare company that was ended up being based in Louisville, Kentucky. And at that point, my mentor, who was on his way towards retirement, was going back to his industry, his original industry, which was manufacturing. So he said, I'm not sure if healthcare HR is something you want to do for the rest of your life, but if you're interested, I have kind of a soft place for you to land in manufacturing and give that a try. So I actually went to work for a very different industry. I worked for the world's largest commercial HVAC manufacturer, doing HR in their field service site. So I was still doing field HR. I was still based here on the East Coast. And my corporate office was then in Minneapolis. And I was traveling all over the US and Canada, supporting skilled tradespeople and their offices around the country. So after about 10 years on the road and kind of doing my own thing and really kind of honing my HR craft, I would say, I had been traveling for 10 years. I was very tired. Had also, in the meantime, had met my husband. And so I decided to get off the road and I took a job leading the HR department for a local, to me, I live in the Annapolis area, hospice and palliative care provider. So I went from, a big global manufacturing company to a pretty small, relatively small, local, true community nonprofit, heading up their HR department. It was my first time leading a team and building a function kind of from the ground up. And that's where I was during the pandemic. So I worked in hospice and palliative care setting during the pandemic, which was kind of a trial by fire, and learned a lot about really rapidly changing employment laws. That's where I really kind of fell in love with employment law, just kind of as an interest part of HR. I don't think I have what it takes to be a lawyer, but I have what it takes to be interested in it. Interested enough to be dangerous. Um, and then after 5 years, 5 years in that, I took what was my latest job in Washington, D.C. as it wasn't originally the head of HR, but ended up being the head of HR for the world's largest biotechnology trade association, which was a completely, it was kind of, I say it was kind of healthcare adjacent, but the organization itself as a trade association is what's called a 501c6 nonprofit. We operated for the benefit of our members and not necessarily for the benefit of kind of the public at large. And again, it was a lot of kind of rebuilding a function a couple times, and unfortunately was part of a round of layoffs late last year. And so I took advantage of my company's generosity. I have the same week that I was laid off, my family adopted an 8-week-old golden retriever puppy, and I have a toddler. So I've been enjoying some time off, and while I figure out where my next step is. I got my master's. HR is kind of interesting. I didn't get my master's until 2022, and I got my MBA in 2022, and I think had I not wanted to be in an executive level role, I think human resources kind of is unique in the business world where it's not necessarily required unless you want to kind of get into those upper levels. Most of the professionals that I worked with when I was kind of a little baby HR person and kind of working my way up, there were two different levels, I would say. There were people who came from the legal side of things who obviously had a law degree, and that's what got them into HR, or they were career HR. They had started in the old school personnel department, and it was kind of a different kind of HR, I would say. It was very transactional. It was keeping the lights on, making sure everybody gets paid, their benefits and everything. And now I feel like it's the kind of modern HR is very business partnership oriented. And I think that's what led to many more HR people either having a business degree, wanting to expand into a business degree, or to get an MBA at some point. HR is very certification focused. So if you decide not to go the postgraduate degree, you can certainly get very, very far getting advanced certifications and testing into certifications that actually, honestly, some of the certifications that I've tested for were harder than my MBA program, and they're very intense and they're very focused, and certainly more stressful to get through because they are really much an industry standard. So personally, a little bit about me. Like I said, I live in Annapolis. I have a toddler, 2 dogs, 3 stepkids, and yeah, that's about it. And like I said, I'm on hiatus right now and taking some contract work, doing some independent contracting and project jobs, and just to kind of keep my skills sharp. And while I decide, if I what my next step is going to be in HR.
Thank you. So we'll save questions till we're done.